This video is about a profound lesson that Germany has taught me. We'll touch on a famous quote from a prominent historical figure, as well as a theoretical law which helped me to realize this lesson that Germany's been teaching me all along. I've made about 700 videos on this YouTube channel. And the vast majority of them, probably 90% of them, I created while I was here in Schwäbisch Hall. Let's remember that fact for later. Keys in hand, keys in hand. I have terrible OCD when leaving the house, so I always will hold my keys in my hand as I close the door to ensure that I have them. I love it when there's two different colored buildings like this right next to each other. Very beautiful. If you guys have watched this channel for a while, you know that I live in Schwäbisch Hall, a beautiful town, but a small town. Only like 40,000 people live here. Compared to the other places that I have lived, Portland, Oregon, and Washington, D.C., this place is tiny. I get asked quite a bit why I still live here in Schwäbisch Hall. Of course, I first came to play American football here, but I'm retired from that now. And I often get asked why I don't move to a bigger city in Germany. Why stay in this sleepy little town? I mean, it's a fair question. I'm a young professional. I would probably benefit in a lot of ways by living in a larger city, even a larger city here in Germany. But for now, at least, I choose to stay here because it has taught me a lesson that I think I could only learn here. And I wouldn't say it was easy, actually. It did take a long time to recognize it, but it's something that I have felt for a long time. The lesson is explained well with a profound quote that I heard recently. But in the process of filming this video in downtown Schwäbisch Hall, I got sidetracked by some event going on. We have got some fancy music coming from the Marktplatz here. I'm gonna go check it out, see what's going on. I stumbled upon a very interesting situation. I have no idea what's going on. This is relevant to the topic of the video, you'll soon understand. I took in all the unique sights and made my way through the crowd of thousands of people. And I soon learned that this was the Schwäbisch Hall Venetian Festival. But we'll return to this point soon. Eventually, I escaped the festival and found some peace and quiet. This shot is way too dark to give you this profound quote. Hold on, let me find a better setup. Now remember all those videos I mentioned. I create much more when I'm in Schwäbisch Hall. I think this quote explains perfectly why I feel so inspired and creative when I am here in Germany, and more specifically when I am here in Schwäbisch Hall. The quote is, "We shape our buildings, thereafter they shape us." Whoa. How I interpret this basically is that our environment, our physical environment around us, affects who we are, how we think, and what we do. Here's some wise words on the topic from Sarah Robinson, who is a philosopher and an architect.
I'm obsessed with understanding how the places in which we dwell shift our perceptions to integrate and incorporate the things of the world into ourselves to expand our skills and expand our very horizons.
I mean, I've lived in Schwäbisch Hall on and off since 2016. It's a small town. I've been able to explore it quite a bit, and I am still inspired. In a big city or in other towns in Germany, sure, you might have a couple nice buildings or a nice area, but then you go a block or a couple blocks and it's not so nice, not so creatively inspiring anymore. So that is what I love about Schwäbisch Hall, is that the entire place where I live, the downtown region, is overwhelmingly inspiring. Now, of course, there's the mental aspect to this, but there's also the physical aspect to it.
When you walk the streets of Venice, the cobblestone streets will be subtly exercising your sense of balance. Researchers found that Europeans who regularly walk on cobblestone streets keep their balance as they age, as compared to their American counterparts.
For me, what this environment in this beautiful southern German town does for me is it makes me more creative. It's a very cool thing to be surrounded by such architectural beauty and creativity. And this is timeless beauty and timeless creativity that we still admire and respect today. I mean, there's construction going on at this house right here, at this building right here, but there are laws in place today that if you're doing construction and renovation, the outside of the building must remain the same visually. It must keep this traditional architectural look, and I'm very happy about that because it really is such a timeless beauty, and it is very, very inspiring to be surrounded by this every single day. In the book Anti-Fragile by Nassim Taleb, one of my favorite nonfiction books, by the way, he goes over a concept or law called the Lindy Effect, which suggests that the future life expectancy of a non-perishable thing, like a technology, an idea, or a book, is proportional to their current age. Basically, if something has been around for a long time, it probably adds a certain value, and therefore it will continue to be around and add value. This is how I feel about the buildings in Schwäbisch Hall. They've lasted a long time because they give such an immense value of beauty and creativity and inspiration, and therefore they are still around and they will continue to be around because of this value that they continue to add to the environment around them. This church is 900 years old. I can expect it to be around for another 900 years. However, this subway building has been around for 10 years. I can expect it to be gone by the end of the century. See, one thing I didn't like is they replaced this Shakespearean Globe Theater. This was an old wooden Shakespearean Globe Theater, and a few years ago they renovated it and made it very modern, and what I think is much more boring looking. I really appreciated the classical style and the authentic style of the old version, but for the most part they don't do that. But here is one example where they did replace the old with something more modern and kind of sterile, in my opinion. Let's return to our Venetian festival. Although it's not architecture or buildings, it's a beautiful celebration of culture that started hundreds of years ago in the Middle Ages. And it continues to be around today. I mean, if you really stop and look at these buildings, it's difficult not to be kind of in awe by them and to really appreciate them. Being around creative old things that have been around forever makes me want to create something that will be around for a long time. And that is the lesson. Speaking of things that will hopefully be around for a long time, I'd like to now tell you about my free iPhone app. Last year, from our apartment in this tiny German town, my brother and I started a new social media app, Quiver. Now here's how it works. Every single day, a universal prompt is released to all users. It's usually a question or conversation starter. Now you cannot see other people's answers to the prompt until you answer the prompt yourself. Once you answer the prompt, then you enter into the timeline and you can see others' answers and interact with them. 24 hours later, there's a new daily prompt and a new conversation. Here's 3 reasons why I think you'll really like the app. 1, it forces you to slow down, reflect, and think. Sometimes the prompt will really force you to sit down and think about your life. For example, what was the highlight of your life this past month? 2, you learn what your friends and family think about topics that you usually don't talk about. The other day, our prompt was, what topic could you give a 30-minute presentation on with no preparation? Now, my grandma's on the app, and she answered, milking cows. I had no idea that my grandma was a cow milking expert. This kind of stuff happens on Quiver all the time. And 3, it's a great way to stay in touch with friends and family. I live in Germany. Most of my family lives in the United States, but we're all on Quiver, and so every single day we are answering the prompt and interacting with each other's answers. This is a great way to stay in touch with people. It's also helped me reconnect with some friends from college, and now it feels like we're connecting every single day because we're on Quiver. We would love to have you join us on Quiver. You can download it at the link in my bio or type in Quiver Rare Conversations in the App Store.